Our first speaker today is someone who we stand alongside in their fight against the cuts, against austerity, and against the horrible news that Rachel Reeves announced last Wednesday. You'll have seen her at many demonstrations. I'm really pleased to introduce Ellen Clifford from Disabled Peoples Against the Cuts, a campaign that we must all be supporting on the streets and in our communities. Over to you, Ellen.
Thank you. I want to start by thanking each and every person, organisation, trade union branch, campaign who got involved over the last few weeks in whatever way you did, online, in person, to support deaf and disabled people in our fight against Labour's proposed destruction of the disability benefit system. And didn't we show the best of our movement? Which was a relief, because, friends, deaf and disabled people are now in the fight of our lives. Labour started its electoral term by mounting twin full-on assaults against disabled people. On the one hand, we have these breathtakingly enormous cuts to the social security payments that disabled people and our families need to survive. And on the other, there's an attempt to rush through Parliament legislation to legalise assisted suicide that's far from what it seems, and which seeks to replace support for terminally ill people with state support to die prematurely. Society is being told that disabled people are burdens on the economy and that it is better to be dead than to be disabled. We feel we're in a fight to justify our very existence. But this is a fight that concerns all of us. We all need a social safety net. Without one, workers are at greater risk of exploitation by bosses and at risk of an inability to survive if they fall out of work. The proposed cut are also much bigger than we're being told. The figures that are being quoted are lies. The 4.7 billion cut to PIP, affecting 800,000 disabled households, set to lose an average of £4,700 per year, is actually a cut of 9 billion, affecting 1.5 million people. And even relying on those lower figures, the true number of households that will be pushed into poverty is not 250,000, but 400,000. The 250,000 figure is based on the changes to the work capability assessment that never went ahead. So they're saying 150,000 disabled households were going to go into poverty, but they didn't, and so they don't have to count them and tell them about us. The combination of PIP cuts and the abolition of the work capability assessment could lead to some people losing between £9,000 and £10,000 per year to be replaced by nothing except actual destitution. And we don't have figures for how many new claimants will be impacted by the halving of out-of-work disability payments or the restricting eligibility to those under the age of 22. And there is no economic need to do any of this. This isn't about employment. PIP is not means tested. The £1 billion to be invested in employment support is employment support targeted at people who have been officially found unfit for work. This is all entirely performative. Welfare spending's not out of control. It's lower than it was a decade ago, and it's not set to rise for the next 5 years. Cutting disability benefits will meanwhile put additional pressures on our public services to an enormous extent. Starmer boasted in The Sun that he has the balls to be ruthless about cutting disability benefits. But there is nothing big man about pushing the poorest and most disabled people in society and their children into poverty and destitution. And there is nothing cool about choosing war over welfare. And he's miscalculated in thinking this is going to make him more popular. What this is going to do is it's going to throw votes at reform. And that makes it even more urgent that we build a united and strong, visible resistance that is based on principles of fairness and solidarity. There is huge fear out there, and we need to turn that anger, that fear, into anger. We need to empower our communities to say to Labour that we are not going to let these cuts happen, that they will not be allowed to do this. And if they try it, we will make them pay. All of the struggles represented by the different campaigns today are interconnected. We're united in fighting the injustices that are created by a system that puts profits before people. Wednesday was brilliant, but now we need to escalate. We need to ramp up the pressure. We need MPs to know that if they vote for social security cuts, it will come back to haunt them. Parliament goes into recess on the 8th of April. So Disabled People Against Cuts is calling for local actions for that week, involving people in local communities affected by the cuts and worried. Bring people together for that week when MPs go back to their constituencies and show them we won't accept this. Please join in and support however you can. The final thing to say is to encourage non-disabled activists to familiar yourselves with disability politics. We mean this as no criticism to anyone who may not have heard this before, but disabled activists hate being called vulnerable, and we hate being described as suffering, because that's the language of our oppressors. It's designed to other us, to isolate us. It's designed to turn disability from the political issue it is into a matter of personal tragedy. It's not. Disability is political, it's a class issue. Disability exposes the brutality of capitalism, but it also shows the possibility of an alternative system to the cruel one we live under now. And that's why our existence poses such a threat to capitalism and why we are now in danger. It's a mistake, though, to underestimate disabled people, just as it is a mistake to underestimate our class. When we come together in unity and solidarity, we can win. And it's essential now that we do, that we beat Starmer, Reeves and Kendall. We come together to demand an alternative. We have to fight to win this, and we can. Solidarity.
Thank you so much, Ellen. And we say to Ellen and to DPAC that we stand with them and we will fight with them every step of the way against these rotten cuts.